Starting an LLC in San Antonio sounds simple until one tiny mistake slows everything down or makes your personal info public. Now, the good news, it's easy to avoid these common traps if you know exactly what to do. So in this video, I'll walk you through each step of starting your LLC in San Antonio the right way. No fluff, no confusion, no hidden fees. And it's worth mentioning there's one small step that most new business owners overlook that completely destroys their privacy in the process, but more on that here in a bit. So first, let's cover why San Antonio is a good place for your LLC. San Antonio makes a standout home for new businesses with a vibrant, diverse economy, a supportive community, and the lowest living costs among major Texas cities, about 9% below the national average and about 4% below the Texas average. Small businesses are the backbone here, right? They make up nearly 97% of all the companies. Plus, local programs create genuine opportunities for entrepreneurs, from easier to access capital to practical support through city initiatives. Now, starting an LLC here means bigger bang for every buck and a customer base that really supports local business growth. Now, next up here, let's make sure that the perfect business name is ready to go in San Antonio for you. But before we jump in too deep here, here's one thing to keep in mind. So starting your business, it should be exciting, not overwhelming. But forming an LLC on your own, that can get really confusing fast with all the legal forms, rules, and easy to miss details. Now, I will walk you through everything in this video, but if any part of this feels too confusing, I've got a favorite LLC formation service that makes the whole process super simple and stress-free. It's guided, beginner-friendly, and it only costs $39. So if you hit any bumps along the way, just go ahead and click right up here to get step-by-step help setting up your LLC the easy way. Okay, so let's get back to naming your LLC. Now, naming a new business in San Antonio is about balancing creativity with the rules that are set by the state of Texas. The name must be unique. The state won't allow anything too close to an existing LLC, so make sure that you brainstorm something memorable that really stands out in San Antonio's market. Every Texas LLC name is legally required to include limited liability company, LLC, or LLC at the end. And you can't use words that make it, sound like a government agency or require a license that you don't have, like, bank or university. Now, to see if a name is available, visit the Texas Secretary of State's Business Entity Search, which, by the way, is linked to below, along with every other resource that I mentioned in this video. Now, if that perfect name is still up for grabs, but you aren't ready to file just yet, you can reserve it for 120 days for $40. Now, getting the name right is the foundation for a strong San Antonio brand. But next up here, let's unpack the registered agent, why it matters, and how the right choice can protect privacy as your business grows. Every San Antonio LLC needs a registered agent with a physical address in Texas to accept important legal documents and state communications. No PO boxes are allowed. Now, someone can act as their own agent, but that means that you're listing a name and a home address if you work from home on public filings and guaranteeing availability during regular business hours. Otherwise, you risk, missing critical notices or even facing state penalties. That's why so many LLC owners, they prefer professional registered agent services. Now, personally, my preferred provider is Northwest Registered Agent because I've used them and they're really known for their strong privacy protections, excellent customer support, and straightforward pricing. Now, if you hire them to help form your LLC, the cost is only $39, which is lower than a lot of competitors. And get this, you can actually use their business address on your public filings to keep your home address or business address private and cut down on spam mail. Now, if you want to check it out, just go ahead and click right up here to learn more. But whether someone's planning to operate a home-based business or just doesn't want their info all over the internet, like me, the smart move for most folks is to keep things private and protected by going with reliable service. Now, next, let's look at how to officially register the business by filing the Certificate of Formation and the key details to get right on day one. To officially launch an LLC in San Antonio, filing the Certificate of Formation, which is Form 205, with the Texas Secretary of State is essential. This document asks for the company name, the registered agent's name and address, a business purpose, whether the LLC is run by its members or managers, and the mailing address of the business. And double check every entry because mistakes can seriously delay approval. Now, Texas charges a $300 filing fee for an LLC, whether the process is completed online, by mail, or in person. And most business owners, they file online so that they can track the status and get the faster confirmation. Now, after approval, you receive a stamped certificate proving that your LLC is recognized by the state. You want to hold on to that. Now, a quick tip here for San Antonio locals, the Chamber of Commerce and neighborhood business centers are actually really solid resources if you have any questions during the paperwork preparation. But once the certificate is filed and approved, congrats, you're officially in business. But there's one more inside step that most owners skip, and you'll want an operating agreement to keep things clear as your business grows. So let's break down why that's a smart move here next. Now, while Texas law doesn't require LLCs to create an operating agreement, nearly every San Antonio business owner benefits from having one. Now, this document, it spells out who owns what, how the company is managed, how profits are divvied up, and what happens if anyone wants out or a disagreement pops up. It can also boost credibility with banks and help prove that the business is legit if any issues arise. If it's a simple single-member LLC or a partnership between friends or family, an agreement may not need to be complex either. For straightforward setups, tons of templates are available online, and AI platforms can definitely help generate a customized agreement in minutes. But as businesses and partnerships get more complicated and things get crazy, some owners, you may want to talk to a lawyer or advisor just to make sure that everything is covered, but only if it's complicated. But bottom line, an operating agreement brings clarity and keeps everyone on the same page from day one. Now up next here, let's talk about EINs and why those tiny 9-digit numbers matter so much for any local business. Every San Antonio LLC should get an employer identification number, or EIN, from the IRS. This is the business world's version of a social security number. Even if the LLC doesn't have employees yet, most banks will require an EIN to open a business bank account, and it's needed for filing federal and state taxes as well, or applying for business permits. Getting an EIN, it is free, and the fastest way is to apply online through the IRS website. Now, the entire process here, it usually takes less than 15 minutes, and the EIN is actually issued immediately digitally for use with banks and city agencies. Once your LLC has its EIN, you're set up to file taxes, get licenses, and separate your personal identity from your business with finances, which is crucial for protecting privacy and building credibility locally. Now let's walk through the compliance tasks as well to keep a San Antonio LLC in good standing. After your LLC is up and running, staying legit in San Antonio means covering state, city, and sometimes county requirements. First, every Texas LLC, including those in San Antonio, must file a public information report, or PIR, and a franchise tax report with the Texas Comptroller every year, both due by May 15th. Now, the PIR keeps state records up to date with basic business and owner info, and failing to file can mean a $50 penalty, or in worst cases, your LLC being shut down by the state. For most small businesses with annual revenue under $2.47 million, the franchise tax report only requires filing, often with zero tax owed. But skipping it can lead to losing your LLC status and liability protection. Also, keep in mind that if you're selling physical goods or taxable services, be sure to register for a Texas sales tax permit too. Locally, San Antonio does not require a general business license, but nearly every industry does need some combination of permits, licenses, or registrations that really vary based on location and the type of business. So think of food permits for restaurants, alarm permits for retail stores, or zoning approval if you're changing how a space is used. The City of San Antonio's website lists all the permits and licenses by business type, with direct application links to, which again is linked to below with other resources in the video. Now, professional licensing for things like healthcare, legal, or construction, that is handled at the state level, and home-based businesses often require a home occupation permit for local zoning compliance. Handling these steps makes sure that your LLC is protected and ready to grow. Now next, let's break down all the startup costs and what to expect for annual expenses in San Antonio every year. Okay, so startup costs, year one. So here are the typical costs to get an LLC off the ground in San Antonio. First, certificate of formation that is required, filed with Texas, $300 one-time state filing fee. Next, name reservation. That's optional, $40 if you want to reserve your LLC name before filing all the paperwork. Now next, we have a registered agent, which is optional but highly recommended. And again, I recommend Northwest Registered Agent. If you go with them, it's $39 for help forming your LLC, and then includes your first year of registered agent service for free. Then you have city or industry permits and licenses. That's $50 to $500 depending on the type of business and the local regulations. So your estimated cost to actually start up your business, well, most San Antonio entrepreneurs, you'll probably pay between $350 to maybe $1,000 to fully set up your LLC, with the higher end including all the optional extras like permits and things like that. Just depends on your business type, but that's kind of the range. Now, ongoing annual costs. So after the first year, these are the recurring costs to keep your San Antonio LLC in good standing. So first, Registered agent, Northwest registered agent, the renewal there, $125 per year after the first year to stay in compliance. Then your Texas franchise tax report. Now, most small LLCs, they will file this for free, no fees due at all, unless you're over $2.47 million. Your local license or permit renewals, that's $20 to $300, and it really depends on your industry and your location. Again, it's hard for me to estimate this just because it just depends on the situation. But the estimated total ongoing cost per year, you can expect to spend about $150 to $450 per year in state and local fees, agent services and licenses to maintain your San Antonio LLC. Now, again, to help with all this, I do advise you to use a service like Northwest Registered Agent, which again, you can click right up here if you need it, as they'll help you stay in compliance year after year while you focus on the most important thing, which is running a profitable business. Now, if you have any questions for me or you're a little bit confused about the process, no problem at all. Just drop me a comment below and I will do my absolute best to help you out as soon as possible. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.